Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Hometown Musician Spotlight. And tonight we're coming to you from our bar, where my guest, the founding member of the MegaBeatles and the Crawpuppies, is here with me tonight. I'm very excited to introduce Chad Clifford.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for being here, Chad.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Chad, before we get to some of that real meaty stuff,
Okay.
I always like to know, where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school?
Born in Indianapolis, but I'm a Valpo guy. I grew up my whole life in Valparaiso. So went to Valpo High School, and yeah, my family's got deep roots in Valpo since the 1800s, actually.
Wow,
So,
wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. And was there a time in your life, maybe a memory, a person or an event where you kind of first started your musical journey, or first instrument, anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think since I was about 4 or 5 years old, I saw the Beatles on television.
Yeah.
And I just said, that's what I'm going to do. And everyone kind of was like, yeah, that's a nice little hobby. And I just kind of always, my whole entire life, ever since kindergarten, I remember, they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be an entertainer. I want to be a musician, singer-songwriter.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that. I'm actually going to ask you a little bit earlier in the conversation, but so in recent months, you and your family took a trip to the United Kingdom, saw some great pictures. I'm sure you had great times, but what did you bring back musically and or spiritually from that trip?
Well, spiritually, I've gone twice. The first time was very much just a Beatles-centric kind of England and Liverpool and London trip. This time we tacked on, got to see my family's motherland. So I got to walk the land of my great-great-great-grandfather, who would have left right about the time of the potato famine, and just to walk and see the hills of Kerry and see Killarney and see Ireland was just... it's hard to even put into words, really. I mean, everyone, it sounds cliche because everyone says it'll change your life, but it literally does. It puts a stamp on you. You know, the British part, walking in the footsteps of the Beatles, for me was amazing because I got to do things like play at the Cavern Club where the Beatles had done over 200 shows. I got to play the Paul McCartney family piano in Paul McCartney's living room. I got to sing in the stained glass pantry of John Lennon where he would have practiced singing, you know. So I got to do all those things. I got to see Strawberry Fields. I got to, do the Abbey Road crosswalk and all that cool stuff. So that was everything I thought it would be. Now I've done it twice, and I'd hate to say that I've been spoiled by it because each time was very, very, very fun.
Yes.
And it was fun also because we took a trip where we went with other folks who we're experiencing it all kind of for the first time, and it was just amazing.
I saw your son Nolan Clifford 2 days ago doing sound for Dave Peterson. And he's musically inclined. Obviously, are there any other Cliffords coming up the ranks?
All four of my sons are musicians.
Yes.
Both Nolan and my oldest son Evan both do sound. My third son is running my store as we speak, and my fourth son is a musical sponge, which is just taking in everything from all of his brothers. Nolan is an insanely talented kid, as is Evan, and my other kids are coming along. But Nolan's done some songwriting. Don't let his behind the board fool you. He's got some chops. He's musically far surpassed me. It's amazing.
So tell us a little bit about front porch music and what your vision for front porch music is.
Well, in the early 90s, I'd gone to school at Columbia College in Chicago, and I'd heard there was this little music store opening in Valparaiso. So naturally, I said, well, music store, my degree's in music business management. I'm a Valpo guy. I got to work there. So I knocked on the door, and I just said, what can I do to work here? And they brought me in as a guitar teacher. And I fell so in love with the place and the vibe of the place that later on I worked my way up to be store manager. And then when the opportunity came to buy it in 2007, I bought it. But I'd already worked there since 96. So I'd been given this opportunity to kind of design the place the way I wanted it.
Yes.
And so when I bought it, there wasn't a big transition. It was like, oh, now it's finally mine, good and bad, right? It falls on your shoulders. My vision for it is really pretty basic. No matter what kind of music you like, if you like music
Mhm.
and you like any kind of, and you're at all interested in learning an instrument or performing or poetry or anything like that, we're just a place where the kid that's maybe a little awkward or is not good at sports, or
Yes.
just a kid that doesn't feel like he belongs. It's a place he walks in the door, he or she
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
in the door, and they feel cool. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's really about it's it's really the biggest scam in the world.
Yeah.
You find something that people are passionate about,
Yeah.
and you sell it back to them.
Yes,
You
exactly.
teach them how to
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's mainly a lesson place.
Yes.
We
Uh-huh.
do mainly lessons. We do sell some things, some guitars,
Mhm.
and but mainly the major focus is helping people find themselves at any age, from 8 to 80.
Mhm.
We help them find themselves musically, and no matter how good you are, our job is to say, what do you want out of this, and help you get to that point.
Yes.
And that's the goal.
Awesome. Awesome. By the way, we're coming to you from our bar. Our bar has been a 10-year supporter of local live music. And if you haven't been here, make our bar your bar.
Yeah, it's
So,
great.
yes. So, Chad, last time I saw you here, we threw out a request for a Richie Valens song. You said, I'll give it a try. I never played it. And naturally, you killed it.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
what is more fulfilling on a solo request? The adventure of trying a new song, or the satisfaction of satisfying the customer, so to say?
Well, kind of both. I
Yeah.
mean, ever since, like I said, I was a little kid, I used to set up on Saturday night. My grandmother would babysit me, and I would just grab my guitar and I'd sing songs, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just
Yeah.
make them up, or I'd
Yeah.
sing a Beatles song
Yeah.
for her, or we would do kind of whatever.
Mhm.
And she would clap because she's my grandma. Of course, she's going to clap,
Yeah.
right? But I got the bug of just kind of that connection you make with
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
It's really amazing the people that I've met just through doing what I love,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does feel good to do that. I mean, sometimes I do all right. Sometimes
Yeah. Yeah.
it nosedive, but I think people respect the idea
Yeah.
that you're just willing to
Yeah.
give it a shot,
Yeah.
So I grew up. My dad was a musician.
Mhm.
I grew up with a very, my dad brought me up on the Beatles, Zeppelin, the Stones. My mother loved Steely Dan and Pink Floyd.
Mhm.
So I grew up, the radio was always on in my
Yes.
house.
Yes.
And I absorbed in the backseat of a Chevy Nova, I absorbed everything
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
WLS had to offer. And in the 80s, I listened to Casey Kasem's Top 40. I mean, I know lyrics to songs,
Yeah.
that are just kind of, sometimes I scratch my head like, wow, how do I remember all those? But I'm very good at being able to do a respectable interpretation
Great.
of the song.
Great.
I'm sure there's technical guys that would watch me and say, well, it really goes like this. But so the most people,
Yeah.
they're just, as long as you're selling it, and as long as you're performing it and passionate about it, I
Mhm.
think that the technicality will come and
Yeah.
go. So,
Yeah. So I heard a Crawpuppies song today on X Rock, which we love playing all of our local
yeah,
musicians.
for sure, they're excellent.
Yeah. Can you tell me how the Crawpuppies got formed, and what the future for the Crawpuppies is? How many albums have you done?
Well, we've done 2 albums.
Mhm.
The Crawpuppies started in a very organic way.
Mhm.
There used to be a place called Angelo's Sicilian Cart, and it was a place in the '90s where they did something real smart. They had a jam night on a Monday, and musicians never have anything to do on a Monday, so we would all go. And there was kind of the old guard, the guys in the bands like Shut Up and Drive, and some of those bands, A Passage, and some of those bands that were kind of active during that time. And those guys would show up, but it was really the younger guys that we were all just kind of turning 21, and it was kind of our first place we could go, and there'd be a stage set up. So we started just meeting people. And the ones that would show up all the time, you started making these friendships, right? Well, the the owner of Angelo's had seen me, and he said, "Why don't you start playing here on Wednesday nights? When everything going on, bring your acoustic guitar, and just start playing on Wednesday nights." So I would, and me and my friend Mike would come, and we'd just start playing. And all of a sudden, this guy would come along, and he'd play bass, and he knew every song I knew. So it was like, oh, this is cool. We got a bass player now.
Yeah.
And so that was Aaron
Aaron.
from the Crawpuppies. And then through Aaron came Chris Karp. And
Another
same
wonderful
thing.
musician.
The same thing. We all locked in because we had grown up on that music together. And I can't say that every performance was great, but when you're playing 4 hours a night every Wednesday, you're getting paid essentially to practice and form a band. And people would start coming in and they'd say, well, we really like you guys. We want to book your band. And we would say, well, we're not really a band. And they'd say, well, we want to book you. What's the name of your band? And I jokingly, outside of Angelo's, there's a Popeye's chicken, okay? And it said, tonight's special, Crawpuppies, which is some kind of a Cajun breaded dish, like a hush puppy, right? So the guy said, well, I want to book your band, but I don't know the name of your band. I said, well, that's up on the marquee. It's the Crawpuppies.
That's freaking awesome.
So we named the band the Crawpuppies with this kind of hybrid dog crawdad thing. Yeah. And we're always thinking, someday we're going to change this atrocious name. But then people start getting tattoos.
Yeah.
Not band members, but girls will be like, look what I got. And they'll be like, oh, can't go changing the name of the band on you now, can I? Because that would be pretty mean.
Yeah, right.
So the name stuck. We've got 2 albums out. I'm always kind of writing and thinking of ways to come up with a 3rd album. I'm dragging my heels. It's been a long time since we've done anything new, original-wise. The band this year is, I don't want to say it's fragmented, but we're not playing as much as we've played in the past. Sometimes you got to let things kind of, bands are kind of like an open marriage. You got to let people kind of go out and do their thing, and then when you come back, you're like, oh yeah, we all still love each other. We're kind of at that stage right now where everyone's just kind of like, I've always wanted to do this, or I've always wanted to do this, and it's always been an open door, like, go do it. And when it comes time to come back together. So there is definitely a future, but this thing's been going now for nearly 30 years. Wow. I guess it's 30 years. Wow. And the band's done over almost 3,000 gigs together, which is kind of an amazing thing to think of.
It's like every day for 9 years.
Yeah, it is. So we've done enough that we were. A little break is always good. It gives you that kind of punch. And Chris is out doing his Led Zeppelin thing, and Aaron's playing with Naughty, and Mike Curtis is playing with Rito and Compass, and I'm doing solo shows, and I got these MegaBeatles things, and a couple times a year I get together with my old high school buddies, and we do a show called Digital Hair, which is our old 80s band. So it's all like this, the 80s alternative rock kind of stuff. So the schedule gets full, and the Crawpuppies have plenty of work, but it's not as perhaps as aggressive as it had been in the past.
I regret to say I have yet to see the MegaBeatles. I had a conflict of interest a couple of weeks ago when you were in the barn, which sounds like a great thing. So tell me about what year and how the evolution of the MegaBeatles and who's part of that.
My good friends in the Chris and Lou band, Chris Sulzer and Lou Samaniego, we used to do this thing once in a while at the Old Style, which was a bar in Valparaiso, and we would do this Beatles night, and we would always get together, and Lou and I could basically sing harmony well together. And we always enjoyed doing it. So Tom Collins, the owner of the previous CEO of County Line Orchard, Tom Collins Sr., had seen us do it a few times, and he said, hey, I'd love for you guys to come and do a Beatles show. So we played in the barn, and it was really successful. And then we've been just doing it for like 15 years. And then like a lot of those things, other places will call and they'll say, hey, we'd love to have you. So it's we do it for fun. We do it 5 or 6 times a year. It's kind of limited by design because everyone's got their own things going, and when we do it, we want it to be a happening.
Well, we got 2 more fun questions as we wrap up the interview. I always like to ask everybody this question, but so if there was a room, you already said you played the Camera Club. My gosh. But if there was still yet another room in this world, another place, another venue that you have yet to play in, whether it's past or present, what would that venue be?
Quite interesting. The one that got away, we were in a contest. We were in a contest with another band, and we came in second. We played at the Metro, and we played the Double Door, and we played at the Aragon Ballroom. But the grand prize was to play at Soldier Field, and it was an opening slot for Bon Jovi. which would have been just amazing to play Soldier Field. That one always kind of, because it got away, sticks to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it rained the whole day, and the band that one got canceled. So sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't really know of a place. I mean, I've played the Star Plaza. I played Deer Creek. You know, I wouldn't knock playing it. You know, obviously Soldier Field opening for somebody. But I mean, that's a pretty big one. But yeah, I've played. You know, I pretty much decided anything like that I wanted to do. I found a way to make it happen.
Okay. So, all right.
There's not one that I can think of, but there probably is several.
And another fun question: if you could trade places with any other musician for a whole weekend, past or present, who would that musician be?
That's a good question. I've never actually thought of that. I mean,
you got a whole weekend to be that person.
Yeah. I mean,
to walk in their shoes. Or maybe just sit in with somebody.
Yeah, well, I would love to shake Paul McCartney's hand and spend an hour talking to him and sing a song or two with him. I've had that blessing with a couple members of Wings over the years. I've done a lot of Beatle fests and stuff like that. So I've gotten to meet these people that are kind of like people that I had their poster on my bedroom wall and get to hang out late at night and sing songs with them. So I've been very blessed with that. I don't know. I mean, I would probably be much more into not wanting to. I wouldn't want to necessarily be on stage with them, but you give me an hour with a guy like Jeff Tweedy from Wilco that we could just sit and BS for an hour and pick up some guitars and sing some Beatle tunes together. That would be ideal.
That'd be awesome.
That to me is probably more than Obviously, I love Paul McCartney, and so to play tambourine in this band on a couple songs, that would be a dream come true. But those kind of things.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Hometown Musician Spotlight. And I want to thank my guest, Chad Clifford. I hope you have a great show tonight, Chad.
Thank you. It's always a good time here at our bar.
All right. And until next time, peace, everybody.
Peace.